You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Monday the 2nd. Is it Monday? God, I've cocked this up already. It is Monday. Oh, might as well carry on then. Monday the 2nd of June 2025, and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And it's 11 o'clock as I'm recording this. I'm back at home in the UK, at my home, and I haven't done any writing yet. I may do some later, but I kind of wanted to dedicate this episode to Doctor Who because I finally got round to watching it. Unfortunately, because obviously iPlayer is not available where I was in Kenya, and it also turned out that Disney Plus wasn't available there either, so I had to wait until I got home. And unfortunately, I did get some spoilers, so I knew some of the things that were coming, which is a shame. And I actually avoided social media, but I literally went onto a web page, and it was on there. And it's like, what? So yeah, so here's what I think, because somebody did actually listen to a podcast the other day and actually put it on a comment saying, oh, I tuned into this to hear what we thought of Doctor Who, and so here's what I thought. So I think as a season, it was much stronger than last year's. There wasn't a terrible episode. There were some terrible ones last year. There were some real duds. I thought it worked much better this year. Now, I'm going to talk about Russell T Davies and his finales, because he's got a habit of building up to this massive big climax and then kind of letting you down at the last minute. Absolutely was the case last year, because you had this big build up and then you had this revelation that it was, a mythical Egyptian god who, if you were a Doctor Who fan who knows the history of the show like I do, you'll go, oh, Sutekh, okay, that's quite a big deal. But if you're not, if you're just a general viewer, you're going to go, who? And that was a problem again this year. So again, Omega, they've put him as the creator of the Time Lords. No, he wasn't. He was the person who made time travel possibility for the Time Lords. But that's, by the by. But again, it's a character who's appeared in 2 stories previously. One in the 1973 and one in 1983. Yeah, it was both anniversary years actually. So again, it's somebody that is quite a big deal for Doctor Who fans, but your average audience is going to go, who? And in the case of Sutekh and Omega, they just did crappy kind of CG effects, and Omega was never a character. Omega was absolutely a character in the previous 2 times he's appeared on the show, and this time he was there and then he was gone again. And I kind of felt a little bit the same about the Rani. They had 2 versions of the Rani there, both of them were great, and then suddenly she's gone. So that as a big kind of cliffhanger, I thought was a letdown. However, what he got right was the jeopardy around the kid, the Poppy character, because that was a character that, you don't have to be a long-term fan of the show to know who it was. And I really, really liked the fact that he gave up, or he initiated his regeneration to help her to exist. I actually thought it felt like it mattered, whereas last year's finale, I didn't care. As long as the goodies survived, it didn't really bother me what happened. So I thought creating jeopardy around somebody we knew who it was actually made such a big difference. Omega and the Rani almost became superfluous to the eventual plot, because it became all about preventing the erasure of that one character from existence. And I actually gave a damn. I actually wanted them to succeed. So there were some lovely nods to previous continuity, like, they built a Zero room to house Belinda and Poppy, and a Zero room, again, if you're a long-term Doctor Who fan. It's a lovely nod to something that happened in the 80s, but again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't know that. So I thought that was I really enjoyed it. By the end of the episode, I actually gave a damn what was happening. And then completely pull me out of it, they shoved in a cameo from the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. Now, I'm weird with the way I enjoy Doctor Who, because I'm always better at appreciating an era once it's finished than I am when it's happening. And I whooped when Jodie Whittaker turned up. And I did know it was coming, unfortunately. That was something that was spoiled for me. But I just absolutely loved. What was nice is she's only recently departed the role, so she didn't look older. She looked like the Doctor that we got used to, that finished 3 years ago, or not even 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And just the mannerisms were spot on. The bit where she does a lean back and I was never going to get away with that, was I? I loved it. And I really enjoyed seeing her back. And I actually watched Doctor Who Unleashed, which is the documentary programme that they show immediately afterwards on BBC 3 or BBC 4, whichever one it is, I can't remember. She was thrilled to be back. Again, some lovely nod to the past. It's a bit of a tradition when a Doctor sees a future version of the TARDIS, they will utter the line, "You've had this place redecorated, haven't you? I don't like it." It's been done for years, and I love it. It's just, there was some lovely nods to the past. I really enjoyed her cameo, and I really enjoyed the resolution to the story. So actually, and finally, because... And possibly now I've seen this, I'll go back and enjoy this era more, because it does feel like, although it was broadcast over 2 years, it feels like actually to get the best of it, you need to watch these episodes as one season. Ncuti Gatwa is the shortest, the second shortest screen Doctor for the TV show. The first being Christopher Eccleston. You could include Paul McGann, but was never really, he was never in it as a TV show. There was a one-off sort of TV movie and then nothing else happened. Well, he's had a couple of cameos since then, around anniversaries and stuff. But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought the season held together. I love Belinda. I never gelled with the Ruby character. That's not a reflection on the actress, but I didn't find the character particularly likeable. I loved Belinda. I wish they'd done so much more with her, and I really, really hope, with Russell T Davies running the show, it's very, very likely that we will see her again, I think. And I really adored the character. The twist at the end, the new Doctor, not sure about that. I love the idea, but I did notice that she wasn't credited as the Doctor. So normally when you get a new Doctor, it's and introducing so-and-so as the Doctor. They didn't do that. So I have a funny feeling that what they've done is quite clever. They've given us an interim Doctor in Billie Piper. I may be wrong. She may come to the series full time and be the Doctor for the next couple of years, but my guess is it will be for a couple of episodes. And my guess is what they're going to do. So we still don't know if Disney have renewed it. Now the BBC have said this makes us a ton of money. Even if Disney are not on board, we will still be making more. However, there's going to be a gap. There probably isn't going to be a Christmas special this year unless they really pull their fingers out. So we probably won't get any new episodes until next year, or possibly 27. So there is going to be a gap. And I suppose if you cast a temporary Doctor, someone who's only going to do a handful of episodes, like David Tennant did for the 60th anniversary, you have the continuity you need. You haven't got an open-ended regeneration, which would just piss people off. But also you have you have a face, you have a mystery as to why that face is there. But it kind of gives you it prevents you having to have that unsatisfying open-ended regeneration, which the show has only done once before, and that was in 1969. And actually the intention at the time was that the show was cancelled, it wasn't coming back, so that's why they didn't show you who the new Doctor was, because there wasn't supposed to be a series in 1970. They only brought it back because they couldn't think of anything else. So you've got all that going on. So I may be wrong, but I suspect the format, if it comes back, will be fairly similar to what we've had over the last couple of years. There will be some special episodes, which will be the ones that Billie Piper stars in. Whether she actually is the Doctor or not, I don't know. I do think it's time. I actually felt there should have been a female Doctor immediately after Jodie Whittaker, and I really hope if Billie Piper isn't the next Doctor, I have no problem if she is, but if she isn't, I really hope they cast a woman, because I feel it should be. We've had how many men, and Jodie Whittaker, in hindsight, I'm not sure if I enjoyed her at the time, but I've watched a lot of her stuff again, and I love it now. I don't think the writing was particularly tip top when she was the Doctor, but she was great, and I do think it's time for another. I think we should have a female Doctor. So I've got so much to say, and I'm going to have to limit myself because we're at 10 minutes already, and I could say a lot more. But overall, I loved it. I think it's going to be a while before it comes back. I think it will be coming back. There's so much that hasn't been done. So you had the cameo with Susan, his granddaughter, in the last couple of episodes, and that isn't resolved why that's happening. We've got all the time changes from when, when David Tennant and Catherine Tate accidentally caused gravity to be renamed Mavity. That has happened. This pantheon of gods that have been popping up over the last couple of years, that isn't resolved. So I do think, and apparently Russell T Davies has pretty much written, the scripts for the next series are written. It's just a case of where the money's coming from to pay for them filming. So hopefully it'll get resolved quite soon. In the meantime, we've got The War Between the Land and the Sea, which is a unit series, which they put the trailer for at the end of the episode, which also looks really interesting. I'm at nearly 11 minutes. I could literally go on. I'm going to stop now. But my general thoughts were, I loved it. I really liked it a hell of a lot more than I expected to. Hopefully I'm going to do some writing today, but I haven't slept after my flight yet. So my plan now is to get a little bit of sleep and then hopefully do a live stream later where I do a bit of editing work on chapter 22 of Empress of the Trees. I'm really going to stop now, I promise. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.